Chapter 49-41. Are you done? Lin Xian said with a smile. Kneel down and apologize to me for wasting my time. Hearing this, the guards in front were stunned. Bai Zongxing was also stunned. He could not believe his ears. He had brought the strong cultivators of his family here, and the other party still dared to be so arrogant? Damn it, kill him. Suddenly, someone walked forward. At this time, a middle-aged man also walked forward. Kid, who are you exactly? How dare you offend our Pulsatilla clan? He felt that the other party might have some background. Lin Xian said indifferently. Just a rogue cultivator, come at me if you want to. Rogue cultivator, don't blame us if you want to die. Send him to hell. The middle-aged man waved his hand, and the strong cultivators in the surroundings walked over. Their terrifying killing intent swept across the 9 heavens. The people in the distance quickly retreated, leaving enough space. They only watched from afar, and no one was willing to help. Seeing this, the little scholar sighed. So it's a stubborn guy. Can a rogue cultivator stop this? She decided to save the other party. She stood out and said, Give me face and stop this matter. Or you. Bai Zongxing frowned. A cold light appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes. The jade pendant that hid his aura had a white light flickering in his eyes. It seemed that his black pupils had disappeared. The next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up. So it's a little princess. Yao Qingwu's expression changed. The other party could see through this middle-aged man. He must have cultivated an extremely terrifying eye technique. Why? Is he your cultivation partner? The middle-aged man asked with a smile. Yao Qingwu snorted coldly. He's a friend I just met. But I can't bear to see you bully others. Fine, I'll spare him for your sake. But he still has to kneel down and kowtow to my nephew. Also, break his limbs and destroy his cultivation. I'll only spare his life. As for you, come back with me for a month, and I'll let you go. Yao Qingwu's expression changed. Did the other party see through her identity? Then, it was definitely not as simple as an invitation. Thinking of some possibilities, her expression became unsightly. Let's go. Yao Qingwu snorted coldly and turned around to leave. The middle-aged man waved his hand, and demonic energy formed a barrier to stop her. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Yao Qingwu did not expect these Pulsatilla clan people to be so arrogant. Not only did they not save anyone, but they also threw themselves in. Her expression darkened. How dare you attack us? Look at what this is. As she spoke, she waved her hand, and a token appeared in her hand. Clouds and mist were rolling on the surface of the token, and there was a group of black sunflowers emitting a mysterious glow. The man's expression changed when he saw the medallion. You are. He did not continue. Instead, he said, Sorry for offending you. As he spoke, he put away the barrier. The people in the distance cried out in surprise. It seemed like these 2 young people really did have some status. Let's go. Yao Qingwu proudly raised her chin. He wanted to leave with Lin Xian. However, the Nian said, Wait, you 2 can leave, but he must stay. What do you mean? Yao Qingwu turned her head, her beautiful eyes filled with anger. Her identity didn't work? The 2 of you are indeed extraordinary, and we don't dare to do anything to you. However, there is one thing that you must remember. This is not your world. This is the buried Emperor's star, the everlasting forest. We have the final say here. This kid injured my nephew. If we let him go like this, what will others think of our Pulsatilla clan? Therefore he must stay. What do we have to do to let him go? Yao Qingwu gritted her teeth and said. Bai Zongxing stood out and said, Well, let him kneel down and I will cripple his limbs. At the same time, give me his woman. After 10 years, I will return her to him. Hearing this, the faces of the people in the distance became unsightly. Could a woman who was looked at by Bai Zongxing live for 10 years? Yao Qingwu's face became unsightly. How could she agree to such conditions? Lin Xian's face also darkened. Dragons have reverse scales. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. As he spoke, he slapped over. Boom, boom. This attack directly sent Bai Zongxing flying, and half of his face was shattered. Not only that, his body was covered with cracks. He was seriously injured in one move, and then his body was torn into pieces. The surrounding people went crazy, and the people of the Pulsatilla clan were also stunned. The other party dared to attack them in front of them? You are courting death. The Nien person stood out. At this time, an elder at the back could no longer remain calm. Very well, young man, no one dares to challenge us anymore. As soon as he appeared, a terrifying aura of the great sage covered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone was terrified. It was the great sage who had made his move. Naturally, the great sage was also in the war chariot. When they saw the elder, their pupils shrank. This great sage was not ordinary. He was a very young great sage in the Pulsatilla clan. Moreover, the other party was very vicious. He would not send the enemy to hell until they were tortured to death. Kill him, elder, kill him. Tear him into pieces. Bai Zongsheng roared crazily. The elder stretched out his palm, and his eyes were shining. It seemed that he was about to make a move. Lin Xian sighed, and an extremely terrifying light appeared in his eyes. The mysterious heaven map rotated, and the power of reincarnation appeared. Seal of life and death. Boom, boom. Thunder fell from the void, and an extremely terrifying aura appeared. Everyone felt their scalp go numb. The people of the Pulsatilla clan were so scared that they almost knelt on the ground. The pupils of the great sage in the war chariot also shrank. What a terrifying power! They did not know that it was Lin Xian who had used the soul eye technique. They thought that it was the great sage of the Pulsatilla clan who had used some secret technique. But in the next moment, they were all dumbfounded. The great sage of the Pulsatilla clan froze, and a crazy struggle appeared in his eyes. But it disappeared in an instant. But he respectfully bowed to Lin Xian. Young master, please forgive me. What was going on? The surrounding people were stunned. The Pulsatilla clan people also did not dare to believe it. Elder Zhang, why did you bow to him? Shouldn't you kill him? Very good. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. He had used the seal of life and death just now. His current strength and soul were far stronger than most great sages, and he had the ability to catch them off guard. The other party did not have any defense at all, and was instantly controlled by him. Now, he had become his puppet. As for how to deal with him, it was up to you. Yes, I understand. The great sage replied respectfully. Then, he turned around and looked at Bai Zongsheng. You reckless thing, get over here. Bai Zongsheng knelt on the ground, his face filled with despair. What was going on? The elder wanted to say something, but the great sage slapped him to the ground. You kneel as well. The elder's legs were broken, and he knelt on the ground. Large cracks spread. Chapter 49-42. Hurry up and apologize to this young master. The great sage's voice came out. The surrounding people were stunned. The people of the Pulsatilla clan were even more stunned. Yao Qingwu and Bai Zongsheng were also stunned. They looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. Did this guy have such a special identity? The people in the distance were even more shocked. They seemed to have seen the most unbelievable thing. The young man that they didn't think highly of actually had such a big background. Bai Zongsheng and the man were also scared. They hurriedly knelt and said, Young master, forgive us for not recognizing Mount Tai and offending you. Please have mercy. Kill them? Lin Xian said indifferently. The two kowtowed and begged for mercy. However, the old man waved his hand and directly destroyed their souls. The surrounding people were also scared and knelt on the ground. He really killed them. That was too scary. I don't want to see you again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian said coldly. The others hurriedly nodded. The people of the Pulsatilla clan disappeared instantly. Lin Xian turned and entered the war chariot. Behind him, Yao Qingwu and Bai Zongsheng followed. The others also retreated. They looked at Lin Xian with a trace of respect in their eyes. Even the great sage sucked in a breath of cold air. They knew that this person's identity was extremely unusual. They couldn't provoke him. Hey, who are you? Yao Qingwu asked. You are so powerful, but you didn't say anything. You made me worry for nothing. Lin Xian turned his head and smiled. Thank you for helping me. Lin Xian waved his hand and took out a bell. This is a sound transmission bell. When you are in danger in the future, take it out and send a sound transmission. I can save you once. After saying that, Lin Xian gave the bell to the other party and left. The other party was a good person. He didn't know the other party. If the other party could help him, he would repay this. Yao Qingwu took it and snorted. This guy was too rude to leave just like that. Moreover, she didn't believe that she needed the other party to save her. Who is she? However, he still put the bell away. On the other side, Lin Xian entered the secret chamber. Xueqi asked with a smile. Has it been resolved? Lin Xian nodded, and the two of them rested again. After about 4 days, the war chariot finally stopped. This time, no one stopped them, and they arrived at their destination. Up ahead was a mountain range that blossomed with a strange radiance. This was precisely their destination. There was a valley in the mountain range. At this moment, many people were walking in that direction. Lin Xian and Xueqi also rushed over. However, when they arrived, they discovered that there was a formation inside, and it was sealed. There were 6 guards standing there, seemingly checking his identity. Some people entered, while others were stumped. They didn't seem to meet the requirements. Lin Xian frowned slightly. At this moment, a voice came from behind. You two are going to the valley too? Lin Xian didn't need to turn his head to know that it was Yao Qingwu and the other person. Sure enough, 2 people walked over from behind. Lin Xian nodded. He came here for some matters. Okay, let's go together. Yao Qingwu and the other person walked forward, and they quickly took out their tokens and walked in. However, they were stopped when Lin Xian and the other person arrived. You two don't have a token, so you can't go in. He came with us and he's our friend. Can't we go in? Yao Qingwu said. However, the guard shook his head. The situation was different now, and they couldn't go in unless they had a token. Was there no other way? Yao Chen frowned. The guard said that there was another way, and that was to break the formation and walk in. Break the formation by yourself. Yao Chen's expression became unsightly. The formation in the valley was so terrifying that even the great sage might not be able to break it. This was simply an impossible task. After Lin Xian heard this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Oh, is that so? He walked forward, and his eyes shone with golden radiance. He stretched out his hand, and the principles revolved around his fingers. He pointed at the formation, and the whole formation shook violently. Was this lad going to break the formation? There were some people who didn't go in as well. They had tried, but they all failed. Even an expert of the great sage's level didn't go in. Seeing this, he snorted coldly. This lad had some status, and he could scare away the Pulsatilla clan. However, it was impossible for him to enter the valley. Not to mention breaking the formation. I think he will definitely fail this time. As soon as he said this, the others nodded their heads. They didn't think that Lin Xian could break the formation either. The 6 guards shook their heads as well. They said this to give Lin Xian some face. After all, those who could come here had to have a special status even if they weren't qualified to enter. They had to give some face to him. Most people would find a way out after trying once, but this lad didn't know what was good for him. They watched with a cold smile, but the next moment, they were stunned because they heard a crack in the formation, and a crack that was more than 2 meters tall appeared. Lin Xian's lips curled up. He had broken the formation. How could this be? The eyes of the 6 guards almost popped out of their sockets. This was the first time they had seen someone break the formation. However, they couldn't even speak clearly. Lin Xian pulled Xueqi, and the two of them walked into the formation through the crack. The people who had failed were dumbfounded. Who was this lad? Was he a top-notch formation master? However, he was too young. Were there any formation masters recently? They thought about all the formation masters, but they couldn't figure out who they were. It suited this lad's status. Yao Qingwu and Xueqi also went in. After they went in, they walked toward a large hall in the distance. It seemed like they had something important to do. The valley was very big and there were some buildings. It seemed like a town. There were many people inside, and all of them had extraordinary status and strength. As Lin Xian and Xueqi walked forward, they observed him carefully. They had come here to enter the spirit domain. However, the spirit domain wasn't a place that just anyone could enter. They had to be qualified, and this qualification had to be obtained in the valley. Lin Xian waited patiently. After about half a day, a cry came from outside the valley. Then the formation cracked open, and a group of people walked in. The other people hurried to welcome them, and someone said that the people from the medicine sect had come. When Lin Xian heard this, he narrowed his eyes. The medicine sect, like the alchemy kingdom, were they from the medicine star? Did they come here to enter the spirit domain? It seemed like Yao Qingwu and Xue Qi had come here for the same purpose. Chapter 49-43. The medicine sect's group was led by an old man. His aura was terrifying. He was followed by many experts from the medicine sect. Apart from him, there was another group of people who were even more powerful. They were walking in front of the medicine sect. They were from the dragons. The two groups of people were invited into the valley. Why are the people of the dragon clan here? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Was it a coincidence? He suddenly remembered that the dragon prince had been poisoned. Did he come to the spirit realm to look for spirit herbs? That shouldn't be the case. The dragon prince was from an emperor clan. He had all kinds of resources. Why would he come here to look for herbs? He didn't believe it. Of course, if this was true, it would be incredible. This meant that the dragon prince was seriously injured. Even the dragons couldn't do anything about it. Interesting. Lin Xian sneered. The dragon prince was really unlucky. Then, a middle-aged man walked out of the main hall in the valley and said loudly, "Everyone must have come here with a goal, right? I know everyone's goal. This time, there are 5 spots to enter the spirit realm. You must cherish them. Each person could bring a maximum of 5 people with them." Many people were in an uproar when they heard this. Someone asked, "Senior, weren't there 10 spots in the past? Why are there only 5 spots now?" The middle-aged man in the valley said proudly, "That was in the past. Now there are only 5 spots. If you are not satisfied, you can leave. The spirit realm won't force you." Once he said this, the valley quieted down. Someone laughed and said, "Senior, please don't be angry. Why would we blame you? 5, we will understand." "Very good. Who wants the first spot?" Xue Qi looked confused. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "Let's wait and see." They didn't act rashly. At this time, an old man walked out and said with a smile, "I have a jade pendant from ancient times. Senior, please take a look." As he said this, he took out a jade pendant. The jade pendant was purple. It was as big as a palm. It was simple and had a mysterious aura engraved on it. When it appeared, it shone brightly. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It was good stuff. The middle-aged man from the spirit realm nodded. What was this? A burly man snorted and walked out as well. These people were actually the great sage. His aura was terrifying. As he walked, the entire world shook. He took out a huge black seal, which had 4 black dragons coiling around each other. It was very mysterious. As soon as this thing appeared, a dragon's roar sounded out in the surroundings, causing countless people to cry out in alarm. In the distant Great Hall, the dragon's people also walked out. This was the treasure of our dragons, yet it was taken by someone else. He had to get it. A few people whispered to each other. In addition, the people from the medicine sect were also watching. Yao Qingwu and Yao Qingyu were also watching from another hall. From the looks of it, they didn't even need to make a move. They had already obtained the qualifications. At this moment, a woman walked out and took out a scroll. When she opened it, it was a painting. A red light flickered on the painting, and it also gave off a mysterious aura. The 3 of them fought for the first spot. In the end, the burly man succeeded. He used the black dragon ancient jade in his hand to exchange for the first spot. The others were envious. Lin Xian also understood. It seemed like this auction was similar to an auction. The only difference was that the spots were auctioned, and it depended on who had the best items. Xue Qi also heaved a sigh. This was really a profitable venture. Was a spot to enter the spirit realms so precious? She could tell that even a great sage would go green with envy at the sight of these treasures. The spirit realm held such an auction every once in a while. It was obvious that they were very rich. In the distance, the dragon's people saw that the black dragon ancient jade was taken away by the people from the spirit realm. An old man said, "It's okay. It's not good to show up now. We can discuss it with the people from the spirit realm in secret after the auction." Then came the second spot. This time, there were more people in the auction. In the end, it was won by an old woman. When the third spot was auctioned, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He felt that he should bid for it. This time, there were more people in the auction. There were a total of 8 people, and each of them brought back an extraordinary treasure. One of them even took out a furnace. It was a man with a mustache, and he was holding a furnace in his hand. There was a fiery figure sitting on it, and it looked very mysterious. This furnace is called the sky-burning furnace. The mustached man said, "I got it by chance. There are many top-notch alchemists in the spirit realm. If we can get this sky-burning furnace, we will be able to refine pills successfully." The eyes of the spirit realm's expert in the front lit up when he heard this. The others had a bad feeling about this. At this time, another woman stepped forward and said, "I also have something here." She took out an ancient book. Its cover was tattered, but she kept it carefully. This book was left behind by a super expert 60,000 years ago. He carried this ancient book with him all the time, and it contained his aura. If one could comprehend it, they would be able to improve their great Tao. Many people were surprised, and even the mustached man's expression changed. It was obvious that this item was extraordinary. Xueqi was worried, and she looked at Lin Xian. "Are you sure you can get it?" To be honest, even though the items they had were good, they were still inferior to this book. She even doubted whether it would take them so much effort to get a quota. She felt like she was losing money. When the people next to them saw this, they said, "This is your first time here, so you don't know the rules of the spirit realm. Those who got a quota could enter the spirit realm, and they could also get a spirit herb or an elixir." Many people wanted to go to the spirit realm to ask for an elixir, so they were willing to pay any price. After Xueqi heard this, she understood that it wasn't just a quota. They could also get an elixir in the spirit realm. It was no wonder that these people were so crazy. She became even more worried. Lin Xian curled up the corners of his mouth. It didn't matter, as he was very confident in himself. When Lin Xian saw that no one was going to take out any treasures, he walked out and said with a smile, "I have something here." It was him. Many people were surprised when they saw Lin Xian. They had seen with their own eyes that Lin Xian had torn open the array and walked in. This showed that this young man wasn't simple. They wondered what he could take out. Some people shook their heads. Even though this young man wasn't simple, everyone who came here was an expert. They were afraid that he couldn't take out anything better than the others. Yao Qingwu and the other woman were also confused. What kind of treasure could this arrogant young man take out? Chapter 49-44. Spirit Herbs. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people's expressions became strange. Some even couldn't help but laugh. This kid's brain was flooded with water. Why did he have to send spirit herbs? One had to know that the spirit realm didn't lack spirit herbs. At the front, the spirit realm's experts' expressions also darkened. Was this kid here to pick a fight? The bearded man who took out the furnace also laughed. "Kid, do you think your spirit herbs are better than the ones in the spirit realm? If that's the case, why did you enter the spirit realm?" Another woman in red also laughed. "Young people can't take out treasures. It's better for them to stand aside and watch." Everyone burst into laughter. In the distance, Yao Qingwu also frowned. Why did this kid do such unreliable things every time? Everyone was laughing. Lin Xian looked calm. He looked forward and said, "Senior, why don't we take a look first?" "No need." The expert of the spirit realm shook his head. He didn't believe that there was a spirit herb that was better than theirs. Even Yao Xing couldn't do it. So he ignored him. The others shook their heads. This kid wanted to get away with it. How could it be possible? He was too naive. Lin Xian's face also darkened. He didn't say anything. Instead, he waved his hand and a force circulated in the spirit herb. Suddenly, the spirit herb shone and the fragrance of medicine floated out. The smiles of the surrounding people froze and then disappeared. They all widened their eyes and looked forward in disbelief. Even the eyes of the expert of the spirit realm shrank. What was this? He turned his head, and an extremely terrifying light burst from his eyes as he stared at Lin Xian like lightning. Lin Xian waved his hand and put away the spirit herb. Let's go. Then, the two of them turned to leave. The expert of the spirit realm shouted. Lin Xian stopped and turned around with a smile. Senior, what else do you want? Where's your spirit herb? Take it out and let me see. Lin Xian smiled. How could my spirit herb be from the spirit realm? I was too naive before. Then he continued to walk. Everyone had strange expressions on their faces. They felt like they had been slapped in the face. They really couldn't laugh now. The aura coming from the other side was something they had never seen before. What kind of spirit medicine was this? Why did it feel so mysterious? The expression of the expert from spirit realm also darkened. How dare the other party put on airs in front of him? However, he quickly retracted his cold gaze and walked forward. He smiled again and said, Sir, please wait. I don't know where you got this spirit herb, but your spirit herb is very good and can be used to exchange for a qualification. As soon as these words were spoken, countless people were in an uproar. The mustached man and the red-robed woman's faces turned ugly. They had all taken out their best treasures in order to obtain the right to enter the spirit realm, but now, they had all lost to the other party. Didn't this senior have no time? Or not? Lin Xian continued. The expert from spirit realm gritted his teeth. He wanted to slap this kid to death, but he was too good. He smiled and said, My attitude was not good before, please forgive me. This way, please. He invited Lin Xian to the side. Servants, come and take a seat. Soon, someone came from the valley to serve Lin Xian. Lin Xian sat down and smiled. Senior, do you really want to see it? The expert from spirit realm nodded. Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the spirit herb. After the expert from spirit realm took it, his eyes shone brightly. He sucked in a breath of cold air. Where did young master get this spirit herb? The surrounding people were also shocked. It seemed that this spirit herb was something extraordinary. Lin Xian said, I got this in an ancient ruin. I also think this thing is divine, but it doesn't seem to be useful to me, so I want to use it to exchange for something useful to me. After Lin Xian's explanation, the others also understood. For example, if you gave a young person a spirit herb that could prolong his life, to be honest, although it was precious, it was not as good as giving him a spirit herb that could increase his cultivation immediately. Humans were so practical. Therefore, everyone could understand why Lin Xian wanted to use this precious spirit herb to exchange for the qualification to enter spirit realm. Where is the ancient ruin that young master talked about? The elder of the spirit race asked. It seemed that the other party was not planning to give up. Lin Xian said with a smile. It had been too long, and he had forgotten that it was not in this world. It was in another star world. The expert from spirit realm sighed. The universe was vast and endless. If he was just passing by without the coordinates, he would not be able to find it in his lifetime. Of course, there was another possibility, and that was that the kid in front of him was not telling the truth. He did not care and did not continue to ask. She would keep the spirit herb first and discuss it with the grand elders. As for the kid, it would not be too late to ask him when the time came. Next, Lin Xian and the others were invited to a large hall. The last 2 spots were auctioned. After the auction, the other 2 people got the spots. Other than Lin Xian, the other 4 people who got the spots were assigned 5 people each. Some knew each other, and some had just formed a team. After all, they could continue to auction these spots. Lin Xian's team also had people come over and took out amazing treasures. There was no other way. Lin Xian's team only had 2 people, and there were 3 empty spots. This meant that 3 people could use this opportunity to enter. Naturally, they would not miss it. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. To be honest, he did not want to agree, but he felt that someone was watching him. After thinking for a moment, he sneered. What? Someone was watching his treasures? It seemed that some people were not giving up. Since that was the case, he would let them know what regret was. Lin Xian said that the 3 spots would be given to whoever took out the best item. In the end, 3 people were chosen. One was the small bearded man, and the other was the red-clothed woman. These two people had competed with Lin Xian and lost. But now, they had given their treasures to Lin Xian and had become Lin Xian's teammates. The last person was a gray-haired old man. His hands were like the claws of a rock. His name was Bihi. The treasures he gave out were also extraordinary. Lin Xian put away the 3 treasures and said, "When the time comes, follow me." Lin Xian and Xueqi stayed in the best room in the hall. Lin Xian and Xueqi stayed in the best room. The other people stayed in a corner of the hall. The 3 of them did not care. Chapter 49-45. Xueqi was very smart, and she could guess what they were thinking just by looking at their expressions. Lin Xian frowned and sighed. "It seems like I underestimated the might of that spirit herb. In all honesty, this spirit herb was the worst one he had ever planted in the 4-Spirit Valley. However, he was still shocked by these people. Lin Xian knew that he couldn't take out such a spirit herb in the future. The sword world was too mysterious, and it wasn't something that others could imagine. He knew that these people were watching him closely, and they wanted to know more about the mysterious spirit herb's secrets. They even wanted to attack him. Lin Xian wasn't afraid of them, and he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of these people so that the secret wouldn't be leaked. Lin Yuan and Xueqi knew that someone was going to attack him, and they started resting. They adjusted themselves to their peak state and were ready to attack at any time. During this time, Yao Qinggu and the old man came over to chat with Lin Xian, but they didn't meet him. Yao Qinggu left angrily. "Why is this guy so arrogant? He dares to not meet me. Hateful." The 3 people in the hall looked at Yao Qinggu's back as she left, and they looked at each other. The small mustached man sneered coldly, and the red-clothed woman and the gray-haired old man squinted their eyes. They weren't the only ones, as people in the other halls were also discussing this matter. The medicine sect's people had gathered together. "Did you see the spirit herb that the lad took out?" an elder asked. Another person said that it was very divine, and I have never sensed its aura before. I don't know where that lad got it. Does he really only have one? When the time comes, we will capture him and ask him where he found it, and we will go to that place to search for it. It was obvious that the medicine sect was also preparing to attack. The dragons were also preparing to attack. They had already sent out 2 groups of people. One group was going to look for the Spirit Zone's experts and use other treasures to exchange for the Black Dragon Seal. This was something that belonged to the dragons, and only they could use it to its fullest potential. Moreover, the treasures that they took out were very good, so the Spirit Zone's experts agreed. The eyes of the other group flickered. That lad's spirit herb was very special, and they wondered if they should investigate it. The leader of the group, an elder, said, "We have an important mission, and we don't need to care about other matters. However, it won't be a problem to send someone to investigate it." "I'll go." A man walked out. This person also had an extremely terrifying dragon chi. The leading elder nodded and said, "He took the Black Dragon Seal and refined it. He might be able to use it later." Undercurrents were surging among the various forces. The eyes of the spirit realm expert were also flashing. He stood in a pavilion with his hands behind his back and looked at the sky. Night was coming, he said calmly. A young man beside him asked, "Master, don't we need to prepare anything?" The experts of Spirit Realm laughed. "Don't worry, this is our territory. If they succeed, we can just ask for some information. If they don't succeed, that kid will also enter Spirit Realm. At that time, we can naturally make preparations." His master was wise. The young man smiled. The night was dark. In the room, Lin Xian opened his eyes. "They're here." Xueqi nodded and took a deep breath. She couldn't help but wonder. "Does he have a death wish?" she asked. "Do I need to hold back?" There was no need. Xueqi understood this, and she stood up. Boom! Their formation shattered, and several figures appeared. The first ones to appear were 3 people. They were the 3 people who had become Lin Xian's teammates. They were the small mustached man, the red-clothed woman, and the gray-haired old man. Lin Xian smiled and said, "You 3, why did you come to visit me in the middle of the night and break my formation?" "Young man, there are some things I want to ask you." The red-clothed woman smiled and said, You must answer me truthfully. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. The small mustached man snorted coldly and said, Tell me the location where you got the mysterious spirit herb. The gray-haired old man also smiled. Do you really only have one spirit herb? Give us your storage ring and we will check it. Xueqi snorted coldly. The small mustached man smiled, and his eyes shone with a cold light. I want this woman. He had never seen such a beautiful woman before. Kid, you are no match for the three of us. So, you'd better surrender obediently. That way, you can have a complete corpse. Lin Xian ignored them. He looked at the sky with his hands behind his back and said calmly, Since you are here, why don't you come out? The small mustached man and the other two were stunned. There are more people? A cold snort echoed from the void. Kid, you are quite clear. How did you discover us? 3 figures streaked across the sky once again. The red-clothed woman cried out in alarm. The medicine sect and the dragons had also come. The gray-haired old man smiled. It seems like we aren't the only ones. Since that's the case, let's cooperate. No matter what he said, he still wanted to maintain his status. After all, the dragons were quite terrifying. If they joined hands with the medicine sect and drove them out, they wouldn't get anything. The small mustached man and the red-clothed woman were also nervous, and they looked at the dragons. The dragon's expert, who was clad in blue armor, nodded and said, All right, you can attack, and I will give you a share of the information. The gray-haired old man smiled and stretched out his palm. A demonic beast's claw grabbed at Lin Xian. The small mustached man also attacked Xueqi. In an instant, their power erupted. They wanted to defeat their enemy with a single move. After all, they were in the spirit zone's territory. Boom! Deep sounds echoed out. The gray-haired old man was sent flying back, while the small mustached man's body was covered in ice. His expression became unsightly. Darn it! These two are top-notch geniuses. This isn't good. It seems like I will have to use my full power, and I will probably alarm the spirit zone's people. The red-clothed woman smiled and said. She took out a red gourd. This was a spatial treasure, and no one would know that they were fighting inside it. Click. The red-clothed woman sneered coldly, and the red gourd shone brightly. Its spatial power engulfed everyone. The world spun, and they arrived in the gourd's world. There was nothing around them. Great. They could use their full power now. The gray-haired old man snorted coldly, and the small mustached man sneered coldly. Little beauty, you are still a peerless genius. I have decided to make you my cultivation furnace. He turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over, while flames engulfed his body. The small mustached man was quite powerful. He was a fire demon. Terrifying flames burst out of his eyes, and they turned into a worldly furnace that flew toward Xueqi to suppress her. He knew that Xueqi was an ice element martial artist when he attacked her, and he assumed that his previous attack was just a casual one. That was why she was frozen. Now that he attacked her with his full power, her ice would surely melt. Xueqi sneered coldly as she faced his attack. Was her ice just ordinary ice? It was the 9-in icy ice. She waved her hand and unleashed the 9-in divine claw. A black claw streaked across the sky, and everyone was startled by it. The smile on the small mustached man's face disappeared. This claw had shattered his worldly furnace, and it tore his body apart. Puff! Chapter 49-46. Was he defeated? The surrounding people were all stunned. They really did not expect that the little bearded fire demon would actually be defeated. One had to know, they were all clear about the little bearded man's strength. Even if they were strong, their individual strength was probably not stronger than the other party. But now, he was actually defeated in one move. This woman was a little terrifying. Hongling, you go and help the fire demon. I'll suppress this brat. The gray-haired old man roared angrily. The woman in red nodded and took out a ribbon. Like a rainbow, it swept forward. The fire demon also roared at the sky. The flames on his body condensed, healing his injuries. He was completely enraged. You actually dared to hurt me. I'll make you pay the price. The two of them charged over again. On the other side, The gray-haired old man's canopy giant claw also arrived in front of Lin Xian, directly grabbing at Lin Xian's head. Lin Xian laughed coldly and struck out a palm. A golden lion blotted out the sky and covered the earth, letting out a heaven-shaking roar. Everyone's blood boiled. That old man's pupils constricted. Not good, he underestimated this person. He did not expect this young man to be so terrifying. He wanted to change his move again, but it was already too late. He could only grit his teeth and roar angrily, displaying his divine ability to the extreme. His palm transformed into a golden rock. The battle between the fearless lion and the golden rock. It should be able to block it. That old man prepared to block this move and send people to suppress the other party together. But he was too naive. Lin Xian's attack hit the fearless lion seal. This was an ultimate art that could block the Dragon Prince's incarnation. This old man was considered a great sage, but he could not block it too. In an instant, his hand shattered, turning into a bloody mist. A scream sounded. The old man retreated. The fearless lion pounced over, directly tearing his body apart. He let out a final scream, his soul dissipating into thin air, a rain of blood falling. The surrounding people were stunned, even their bodies turned cold. What did they see? A great sage was killed with one palm. Who exactly was this young man? The two powerful cultivators from the medicine sect roared and walked over together. The expert from the dragons also frowned. This move was so strange and terrifying. It seemed like he was about to attack. Do it quickly. Suddenly, their expressions changed because they discovered that the fire demon and Hong Ling had been frozen. Cracks appeared on many parts of his body, and it seemed like he was about to die. If the icy woman joined forces with them, they might not be able to suppress them. Therefore, they decided to kill the kid in front of them first. Light appeared on the hands of the two elders from the medicine sect as they struck out with their palms. His palm was laced with poison. When the great sage was struck by this palm, he would also be poisoned and his entire body would fester. The expert from the dragons waved his hand and took out a saber. The aura of the law of dragon and the law of water condensed. With a slash of the saber, everything was destroyed. Lin Xian smirked coldly as he struck out with both palms. Two golden lions surged out with a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas, causing the void to shatter continuously. The faces of the two elders from the medicine sect turned ugly. They regretted their actions. This man was simply too strong. He was so strong that he defied the natural order. Under the golden lion's attack, the two men's poisonous palms were shattered into pieces. They had tasted despair. In an instant, they vanished into thin air. Were they dead? The pupils of the expert from the dragons shrank. His attack had also been shattered, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Countless cracks appeared on his body. His face was filled with fright. Before coming here, he had thought that this would be an easy battle, but now, it had exceeded his expectations. At this critical juncture, he took out a black seal. It was the black dragon seal that he had just obtained. He used the black dragon seal to protect his head, and it was only because of this that he managed to avoid such a peerless attack. However, his body had already been shattered, and only his head remained. On the other side, Xueqi had also finished her battle. The two great sage had been turned into ice cubes and scattered on the ground. Their souls had also been completely destroyed. In the blink of an eye, only one of the 7 great sage was left alive, and he was severely injured. The pupils of the dragon's expert shrank, and he tore open the void, wanting to escape. Xueqi snorted coldly as she waved her hand, and the surrounding area was sealed in ice. His head was knocked back by the power of the ice, and he returned. He gnashed his teeth and roared, "Do you dare to attack me? I am a member of the dragon's team, and our dragon's expert is nearby. Are the dragons very powerful?" Lin Xian sneered coldly. "Didn't I kill the Dragon Prince's incarnation? What for you?" The expert from the dragon's team shouted in fright. He was really shocked. The Dragon Prince's incarnation had been killed, and it was a great blow to him. However, the person in front of him said that he was the one who killed it. "Could it be that you are from the heavenly court? Are you that mad god?" He despaired. Shouldn't the mad god be a terrifying expert? They had guessed countless times that he might be a veteran expert. However, they didn't expect that he would be a young man in front of them. Bingo! The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. Your reward is to search my soul. Terrifying flames burst out of his eyes. Not good. I have to leave this place quickly and spread this news. I have to tell the ancestor that the mad god is a top-notch genius, and he is someone who can contend with the sovereigns. If he was allowed to continue growing, they couldn't imagine what would happen in the future. The aura of the dragon Tao around his body started burning, and it was obvious that he was going to fight with his life. A pair of heavenly eyes looked down at him, and his soul instantly started burning. He screamed in pain. Freeze the black seal, and I will take his soul. Lin Xian said. Xue Qi nodded, and the 9 divine claws flew over and shot out countless ice crystals. The black dragon print shone brightly as it used its terrifying black dragon secret technique. Dragon shadows swirled around heaven and earth, but they were still gradually frozen. On the other side, Lin Xian came in front of the head and started searching his soul. The expert from the dragon's team couldn't resist the heavenly secret divine eyes, and his soul was completely absorbed and turned into ashes. How is it? Xue Qi walked over and asked. Lin Xian said that they came here because of the Dragon Prince's injury. Is the Dragon Prince's injury that serious? What kind of injury is it? Xue Qi was shocked. Lin Xian said that he didn't know, and only the core elders knew. This person didn't know. However, they did come to the spirit realm to find a way to cure the Dragon Prince's injury. It seems that the Dragon Prince's situation is very dangerous. Then should we intercept them? Xue Qi suggested. Lin Xian thought for a moment and shook his head. We don't need to care about them. We came here for our own purpose. Lin Xian originally wanted to kill these people, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty was too strong, and he would just let them be. There would be more experts coming. Moreover, if the Dragon Prince's life was really in danger, the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would go crazy, and they might even bring their imperial weapons. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to go to the spirit realm to look for life-prolonging spirit herbs. This wasn't in line with his goal. So, Lin Xian decided to ignore the Dragon Prince for now. This black dragon seal is pretty good, and it needs the aura of the Dragon Tao to use it. It's very suitable for me. Lin Xian took the black dragon seal and said with a smile, Qi, I'll give you the red gourd. Xue Qi nodded. Chapter 49-47. In a large hall, the expressions of the medicine sect's elders became extremely ugly. Our people have died. Damn it, what's going on? Did the battle dragons attack us? They were shocked. They guessed that they weren't the only ones who attacked us. Perhaps someone else had attacked us while we were fighting for information. They could only suffer this loss themselves. They didn't dare to look for trouble with the dragons. However, the dragons came looking for them. The dragon's powerhouse stared at the medicine sect's people with a cold expression. The medicine sect's people were shocked. What's the meaning of this? The dragon's powerhouse snorted coldly and took a step forward. How dare you kill the dragon's people? What's the meaning of this? The medicine sect's elders were confused. Fellow cultivators, please calm down. What's going on? What's going on? The dragon's powerhouse snorted coldly. We sent someone to ask about that kid, but his soul jade tablet was shattered. He's dead. Did you send anyone to check on him? How dare you say that you didn't attack him? Well, the medicine sect's elders were also stunned. They didn't expect that the dragon's powerhouse would die. One of the elders said, It's a misunderstanding. We did send someone, but he died. As he spoke, he took out 2 soul jade tablets. These were the 2 elders' soul jade tablets, and they were both shattered. The dragon's powerhouse glanced at them and knew that they weren't lying. However, his frown deepened. If it wasn't the medicine sect, then who was it? Was it someone else? I want to see who dares to attack the dragons. They didn't pursue the matter further. They would find out the next day when they saw who had died. However, when Lin Xian and Xue Qi came out the next day, the medicine sect's people were stunned. The dragon's people were also stunned. How is it possible that he didn't die? How did the powerhouse they sent out die? When they thought of this, the medicine sect's people secretly investigated, while the dragon's people came to Lin Xian. You're still alive? Lin Xian laughed when he heard this. What do you mean? Do you think that I'm dead? Are you trying to assassinate me? The moment these words were spoken, the other people in the valley all turned their gazes over. Yesterday's battle took place inside the spatial gourd, so the people outside didn't know about it. However, they thought that someone would make a move. The experts of the dragons were depressed. What should they say? They sent the great sage to assassinate a young man? If word got out, he would lose all his face. When Lin Xian saw the other party, he remained silent and smiled. Lin Xian looked into the distance and the corners of his lips curled up. The sun was really nice today. Damn it. The dragons clenched their teeth. Could it be that these two youngsters had killed their experts instead? Although he wasn't sure, this was the only conclusion he could come up with. They wanted to attack. Lin Xian sneered. What? Are you trying to kill me? Should he spread the news of what happened here and let the world see how the dragons bullied the young? Are you courting death? The expert of the dragons shouted angrily. The leader, Elder Zhang, shouted angrily, "Come back!" The people of the dragons were not satisfied. They asked, "Why did the elder ask us to come back? It's just a kid. This kid is very strange. The fact that he's still alive means that he has a trump card. If news of what happened here spreads and others know that we're here, what do you think those people will think? If we attract the Kunping Z and the Fire Qilin to stop us, the Dragon Prince's life is really in danger." The others' pupils shrank. The elder is right. We understand. Our main goal is to treat the Dragon Prince's illness. It's good that you know, the leading elder said coldly. As for that kid, he's going to the spirit realm and can't run away. When we're done, we'll just kill him. The people of the dragons quietened down and didn't find trouble with Lin Xian. Naturally, they wouldn't go to the medicine sect either. However, they didn't find anything after investigating. The experts of the spirit realm were also surprised. He actually avoided it? It seemed that this young man wasn't simple. Fortunately, they didn't act rashly. They waited for another day. On the third day, they set off for the medicine sect. Lin Xian met Yao Qingwu again. Yao Qingwu snorted coldly. "Kid, you're too arrogant. You didn't even see me yesterday." Lin Xian sighed. "Did you miss me when you didn't see me for a day?" Yao Qingwu blushed instantly. "You're despicable. If you talk nonsense again, I'll tear your mouth apart." Xue Qi chuckled beside her. "Little sister, don't hide it. We all know that you're a little princess." Yao Qingwu gritted her teeth. She thought that she could hide it from everyone, but now everyone seemed to know that she was a little princess. She snorted and was very depressed. Lin Xian said, "You're from the Medicine Star, right? Do you need to come to the spirit realm with your status?" Yao Chen sighed. Although the Medicine Star has many spirit herbs, it's still lacking compared to the spirit realm. Moreover, the Medicine Star doesn't have what we need this time. Yao Qingwu didn't say much, and Lin Xian didn't ask. Everyone had their secrets. He had his, and so did the other party. They left the valley and continued to walk forward. The experts of the spirit realm took out a big flag and covered everyone, blocking their vision and souls. They knew that they didn't want them to find the coordinates. They didn't check it. Lin Xian's eyes shone. He could see a blurry scene. The people on the dragon's side took out an ancient mirror and hid it in their sleeves to check it. Outside, the experts of the spirit realm saw those people. They covered them with the flag and continued to fly. They flew for about a month. Finally, he stopped. Along the way, he had been going back and forth. Presumably, these people were not able to tell the exact location. He formed a hand seal and pressed toward the void. The space started to shake, and a spatial vortex appeared. The experts of the spirit realm entered with the flag. The space closed. After entering, the expert of the spirit realm waved his hand and removed the flag. He smiled and said, "Everyone, you can go now." The people around sighed in relief. They looked around and found that they were no longer in the everlasting mountain range. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth here was really extraordinary. There were spirit herbs everywhere. Even those that were extinct outside could be found here. The people of the medicine sect exclaimed. Yao Qingwu and Yao Qingwu were also shocked. Even Lin Xian nodded. The medicine star here was strong, and it wasn't even weaker than his Four-Spirit Valley. Of course, the Four-Spirit Valley was still developing, and the spirit realm had been established for tens of thousands of years. However, Lin Xian believed that as long as he obtained more resources, the Four-Spirit Valley and the entire sword world would become stronger than the spirit realm. Everyone, please follow me. The experts of the spirit realm in front lead the way. The group followed. The expert of the dragon's side quietly put away the ancient mirror and smiled. Chapter 49-48. After going in, the people from Spirit Realm came to receive Lin Xian and the others. Of course, the people from the dragons were the most important. Lin Xian and the others were received along the way. After the banquet, everyone went to rest. They had 1 month to stay in Spirit Realm. Therefore, he could choose a good spiritual herb. After that, Lin Xian and Xue Qi started to tour around the spirit domain. The spirit realm was very big, and they couldn't see the end of it. However, they weren't qualified to enter some of the core areas. They could only walk in the mountains and forests of Spirit Realm, but they still saw many precious spirit herbs. Of course, they couldn't pluck them as they pleased. They had to report to Spirit Realm first and obtain permission. Otherwise, he would be killed on the spot if he tried to steal the spiritual herbs. In the past, there were people who didn't believe it. In the end, they secretly plucked it. Soon, people found out. Some of these spirit herbs had already cultivated into demonic beasts and were in charge of guarding them. Therefore, every move of these people was being monitored. Husband, what are you looking for? After they walked for several days, Xue Qi was also surprised. During this time, she also saw some very good pills, but Lin Xian didn't even look at them. After returning, she could not help but ask. Lin Xian asked, "Do you know the legend of Spirit Realm?" Xue Qi nodded. She knew about it. The spirit domain was very famous, and it had once produced the immortal divine medicine. At this point, she sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that you're here for the immortal divine herb? After all, Lin Xian's goal was to become a great emperor. Therefore, it was normal for him to want the immortal elixir. Lin Xian shook his head. The immortal divine medicine? That thing is too far away for me right now. Except for the fact that it wasn't a divine medicine. In the spirit realm, the most famous tree should be the tree of life. That's right, the tree of life. It was said that the foundation of spirit realm had lived for tens of thousands of years. It was said that it could bring the dead back to life. It had a mysterious effect. Husband, you're not here for the tree of life, are you? Lin Xian took a deep breath. That's right. If he couldn't find any other divine medicine that could prolong his lifespan, then it could only be the divine tree of life. However, it was too difficult. Xue Qi sighed. The divine tree of life wasn't something that anyone could use in the spirit realm. This was an extremely precious item. The divine fruit of life produced by the divine tree of life was extremely rare. Furthermore, it would only appear once every few thousand years. It could be said that even Spirit Realm didn't have enough to share. It was impossible for anyone else to do so. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Let's wait and see. There were still more than 20 days left. Was there any other way to investigate? If not, then he had to obtain a divine fruit of life at all costs. He had to save Xia Juyo. According to Lin Xian's deductions, even if he couldn't obtain the divine fruit of life, he could at least obtain some leaves or tree trunks. After all, he had the sword world, so he could use all the power of the Four-Spirit Valley to provide it to the tree of life. Of course, this was only possible if Spirit Realm was willing to do so. If they weren't, then he would have to use his own methods. Spirit Realm had a long history. Ordinary remote antiquity families were much more terrifying. Although they weren't as powerful as the remote antiquity imperial clans, they were still very terrifying. Lin Xian was strong now, and he didn't care about ordinary great sage, but he couldn't face an entire remote antiquity family. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't want to use his methods unless it was absolutely necessary. A few days later, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He thought of a possibility. The Dragon Prince was seriously injured and poisoned. He was very dangerous. The dragons were here to ask for medicine. What kind of medicine were they asking for? Lin Xian guessed that the Dragon Prince was fighting with Kun Pengzi for the throne. Now that he was suppressed and seriously injured, he couldn't afford to waste time. Therefore, it was possible that they were here to ask for the divine fruit of life. Therefore, he paid special attention to the dragons. On this day, Spirit Realm held another banquet. Some people had already asked for the divine fruit of life. Therefore, all they needed to do was to enjoy themselves here. As for Lin Xian and the other members of the Dragon Clan, they had yet to make any requests. Lin Xian then saw Yao Qingwu and the other girl. Both of them had a solemn expression on their faces. He wondered what had happened. The spirit race expert who led the way before. He smiled at the banquet. "Young Master Lin, can you tell me in detail where you found the divine fruit of life?" Lin Xian smiled. "Actually, it happened a long time ago. I don't remember it clearly. However, I heard that the divine tree of life in Spirit Realm has an extraordinary origin. Can you tell us about this legend?" Hearing this, many people nodded. Their eyes lit up. The dragons raised their eyebrows. Even Yao Qingwu and Yao Qingwu's eyes lit up. The divine tree of life is the god of Spirit Realm. The spirit race elder said with a smile. Everyone was surprised when they heard the legend. The dragons laughed. "Can we take a look at the divine tree of life?" Everyone else became nervous. Was that possible? The spirit race elder said, "Sorry, the divine tree of life is in the core of Spirit Realm. It is not open to the public. Even in Spirit Realm, only a few people have the chance to see it." "So it's like that?" Many people sighed. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. This meant that the defense of the divine tree of life must be very strong. He looked at the dragons. The dragons still didn't want to speak? After a while, an elder of the dragons stood up and said with a smile, "The divine tree of life you mentioned is so divine. I heard that the divine tree of life blossoms once every 5,000 years. It bears fruit once every 5,000 years. Are there any divine fruits of life in Spirit Realm? We dragons are willing to trade with treasures." Many people sucked in a breath of cold air when they heard this. Yao Qingwu and Lin Xian were stunned. Lin Xian, on the other hand, smiled. He finally got what he wanted. The people of Spirit Realm changed their expressions. An elder said with a smile, "You must be joking. We don't have any divine fruits of life. We can't trade. If you want, you can come back in 5,000 years. No more? That's impossible. I heard that the last harvest was 15,000 years ago. Have you used up all the divine fruits of life so quickly?" Clearly, the people of the Dragon Clan had done a lot of research and came prepared. The elders of Spirit Realm changed their expressions again. One of them said, "There really aren't any left." They immediately changed the topic. The people of the dragons sneered and didn't say anything. They had already proposed that they would secretly communicate with the people of Spirit Realm. If they couldn't come to an agreement, they would have to use their own methods. Then, Lin Xian was invited alone. The people of Spirit Realm still wanted to know where that place was. Lin Xian had no choice but to make up a random name. Lin Xian had been in True Spirit World before, so he said that it was an ancient ruin in True Spirit World. When the people of Spirit Realm heard this, they frowned. True Spirit World was also an extraordinary world. However, they couldn't go there in a short time. They wouldn't give up. If there was a chance, they would send some people to investigate. Chapter 49-49. The dragons talked with the people of Spirit Realm for 2 days, but they returned gloomily. Their expressions were ugly because they were still rejected. No matter what requests and conditions they made, the other side only said one thing: the divine fruit of life was gone. Damn it, do they really think we're easy to bully? After the dragons returned, they set up a formation and isolated everything. Elder Zhang roared crazily. The others also looked gloomy. The dragons had dominated the world. When had they ever been rejected? Not to mention this time, their conditions were too good. The other side had no reason to refuse. Some people said it was normal. The divine tree of life was the foundation of spirit realm. It couldn't be spread, so they expected it. What should they do? Could they just return empty-handed like this? One had to know that the Dragon Prince was injured. These dragons regarded the Dragon Prince as their god. They were willing to pay any price for the Dragon Prince's injury. An elder said, "We're willing to give anything except the imperial scripture." Does he want our imperial scripture? A young expert snorted, "I think Spirit Realm is tired of living. Why don't we just take action and take his divine tree of life?" Yes, we only wanted the divine fruit of life, but they don't know what's good for them. They can't blame us for taking his divine tree of life. At this time, the leading elder spoke. Don't act rashly. Spirit Realm has developed for tens of thousands of years and has too many experts. Also, they are top alchemists, so there are many families and forces related to them. If we make a move here and fail, I'm afraid we'll instantly attract their attention. In the end, they will seal the mountain gate. It will be troublesome. So, let's calm them down first. I'll secretly summon experts. When the time comes, Spirit Realm will be doomed. When the other side brought them here, they had already used the ancient mirror to investigate. Before they came, they had also laid down the aura of the Tao of Dragon. So, they should be able to summon other experts of the dragons here. The dragons began to move. Some of them continued to negotiate with Spirit Realm to calm them down. They wanted Spirit Realm to think that they were still unwilling to give up. Meanwhile, some of them began to secretly summon the 10,000 Dragons Court. After the 10,000 Dragons Court received the news, they also held an emergency meeting. Inside the main hall, countless experts and saints stood there. Their expressions were solemn. Then the dragons with crutches also came out. Countless people bowed. What about the old ancestor? The people of Spirit Realm refused to give us the divine fruit of life. The eyes of the dragon's old ancestor erupted with a cold radiance. They had already discussed the terms and conditions, but they still didn't agree. Then, don't blame us for being rude. For the Dragon Prince, we are willing to pay any price. The other dragons also placed their palms in their hearts. They were willing to give up everything for the Dragon Prince. Dragon creation, dragon dusk, dragon court. The old ancestor's voice rang out, and the three dragons' elders walked out. Their auras were terrifying. They had reached the peak of the great sage. The old ancestor of the dragons looked at the three of them and said, "This time, the three of you will lead the group and bring the 10,000 dragons diagram." He had to bring the sacred tree of life back. Dragon Sovereign asked, "Old ancestor, how will Spirit Realm handle this?" The eyes of the dragons flickered. "Those who obey me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. Either submit or be destroyed." "I understand." Dragon Sovereign and the other two nodded. It seemed that the 10,000 Dragons Court had been silent for a long time, so much so that no one knew of their power. This time, they would use Spirit Realm to show the other worlds what a true Emperor race was. The three-peak Great Sage led the group with the 10,000 Dragons diagram. Then they summoned the other Great Sage. This time, they didn't bring many people, only 100, and they were all elites of the dragons. The 100 people brought countless resource formations to provide power to the 10,000 Dragons diagram. This time, it was the 10,000 Dragons diagram's power. The group set off. They sensed the aura of the Tao of Dragons. Dragon Sovereign sneered. Spirit Realm had always been mysterious. No one knew where their spatial entrance was. But this time they had solved it. Spirit Realm still didn't know that danger had arrived. On one hand, they rejected the dragon's people. On the other hand, they sent people to find Lin Xian to ask about the mysterious spirit herb. Lin Xian thought about it. He probably couldn't care about the dragons, so he had to think of a way himself. He also said that if Spirit Realm was willing to give him a divine fruit of life, he was willing to take those people there personally. He made up his mind. If they really gave it to him, he would just take them to a random place. Then he would take out 2 mysterious spirit herbs from Sword World and give them to them. The people of Spirit Realm frowned. They didn't expect Lin Xian's goal to be the divine fruit of life. On the way back, the various parties gathered and frowned. What was going on? The dragons wanted the divine fruit of life, So did this kid. And the two little fellows from Medicine Star also wanted the divine fruit of life. An elder of Spirit Realm sneered. He overestimated himself. The divine fruit of life is Spirit Realm's secret. It can't be spread. So what if they're dragons? Spirit Realm's foundation is not bad. Indeed, in the eyes of the experts of Spirit Realm, they didn't have a great emperor. Everything else was about the same as the emperor races. They were far stronger than ordinary remote antiquity families. And there was one thing that the other remote antiquity families couldn't do. In the past, Spirit Realm had an immortal divine medicine that was obtained by a great emperor. From then on, Spirit Realm and that great emperor formed a good relationship. Although that great emperor didn't leave behind a powerful family, this bloodline was still passed down. They had been living in seclusion. If Spirit Realm was in danger, that bloodline would not sit idly by. In other words, they had the great emperor's bloodline behind them. This was why they dared to refuse the dragons. But this time, they didn't expect that the Dragon Prince would be poisoned by the Great Tao for only a year. So the 10,000 dragons court went completely crazy. And among the dragons, only the top elders knew about this. Ordinary dragons didn't know about this situation. Therefore, it was even more impossible for the people of Spirit Realm to know. If they knew, Spirit Realm wouldn't have dared to be so careless. They might even have given away the divine fruit of life. Spirit Realm. On a mountain peak, there was a palace. The people of the dragons lived here. They returned with cold expressions. Spirit Realm, these people really don't know what's good for them. They dared to refuse us. Elder Zhang, the leader, smiled. Don't worry, our people are already here. They'll arrive in a few days. When that time comes, Spirit Realm will die. Chapter 4950. Lin Xian frowned as well. It seemed that this method wouldn't work. He had to think of a way himself. He was going to secretly investigate the Tree of Life's situation. Are you going to the core area? Xueqi also became nervous. The Spirit Realm's foundation is terrifying. There are many experts here. If you're not careful, you might be discovered by them. At that time, you'll really be in danger. She was very worried. Lin Xian was different from the dragons. The dragons had the 10,000 dragon court behind them. However, what was behind Lin Xian? The heavenly court was still recovering, and the Dao sect supported the Dragon Prince. Therefore, if Lin Xian was really suppressed by the Spirit Realm, it would be troublesome. Lin Xian said that it's fine. I'll give it a try. Moreover, I won't go personally. I'll just investigate the situation first. He went to the mountain peak. A formation appeared around him, isolating him from everything. Heavenly secret divine eyes. His eyes shone with a terrifying light as he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes to the extreme. In the next instant, Lin Xian's gaze seemed to cross thousands of miles. He could clearly see the scene in the distance. He was like a god looking down on the mortals. However, before he reached the core area, Lin Xian felt that there was an extremely powerful force here that could suppress soul power. His gaze seemed to enter a swamp. Although it was slow, he could still continue investigating. If other people knew about this, they would be shocked. One had to know that the Spirit Realm had set up many defenses to prevent outsiders from investigating. No one knew how many defenses had been set up. It could be said that even a top expert wouldn't be able to detect anything here. However, the heavenly secret divine eyes were too mysterious and terrifying. Lin Xian could still detect it with his full strength. However, it wasn't enough. Lin Xian's eyes shone with an even more terrifying aura. At the same time, he opened the sword world. The power of the 4 spirit valleys surged into his eyes. At this moment, the mysterious patterns of the heavenly secret divine eyes quickly formed. The power of reincarnation appeared as if it was going to cross space. Lin Xian's gaze entered the core area. In the core area, the spiritual energy here was really too terrifying. There were quite a few 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs. One had to know that 10,000-year spirit herbs were very precious outside, but here, they seemed to be very casual. It could be seen that there were even spirit herbs that were tens of thousands of years old. He hadn't found the Tree of Life yet. Lin Xian made a shocking discovery. He discovered that the core area of Spirit Realm was completely different from other places. In the core region, there was a spring in every area. Spring water gushed out and covered an area. There were a total of 81 of these springs. The 81 springs covered the entire core area. The water in these springs was even more mysterious, which shocked Lin Xian. What kind of spring water was this? What did it have to do with the Tree of Life? Lin Xian continued his investigation. He saw a towering divine tree in front of him, with luxuriant leaves and branches. It was hard to tell how long it had been there, but the aura it carried seemed to be able to restore a skeleton in an instant. Was this the Tree of Life? Lin Xian was shocked. The fruits on top were not ready yet. Lin Xian knew that the last fruit had been plucked 1,500 years ago. It was carefully kept by Spirit Realm and it wasn't ready yet. However, Lin Xian didn't care. It would be good if he could get a leaf of life or a branch. He carefully investigated. But at this time, the Tree of Life swayed its leaves and pierced through heaven and earth. A terrifying aura swept out. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Not good, he was discovered. There was a pear tree in the core area. He instantly rushed out. He shouted angrily. Who is it? Accompanied by this voice, Lin Xian felt as if his soul was about to split open. Not good, the spiritual herbs in the core area had all cultivated into demons and become incomparably powerful. He quickly retracted his gaze. In the sky, thousands of pear blossoms bloomed and poured down like snow. At the same time, in the entire core area, countless terrifying demons revived. There were sunflowers that bloomed with terrifying flames. There were peach trees that formed 3,000 peach with divine swords that pierced through heaven and earth. There were purple vines that turned into thousands of purple thunder. In short, at this moment, it seemed as if heaven and earth were falling apart. Lin Xian's face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he had retreated, his soul was still affected. At the same time, the people of Spirit Realm were alarmed. The expressions of the experts of Spirit Realm changed drastically. Not good, someone trespassed into the core area. Who was it? They rushed out. Someone wanted to steal the divine fruit of life? Damn it, is it the people of the dragons? Roars rang out, and countless arrays in Spirit Realm lit up. Husband, are you okay? Seeing Lin Xian's pale face and the blood at the corner of his mouth, Xueqi was extremely nervous. Lin Xian retracted his gaze, took a deep breath, and helped me in. His soul was injured, but fortunately he reacted quickly enough, so it was only a minor injury. Lin Xian hurried back to heal his injuries. On the other side, the medicine sect and Yao Qinggu were alarmed. The people of the dragons were also alarmed. Their gazes pierced through heaven and earth. Were there people here? But soon, they realized that it wasn't the case. It wasn't the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Someone had sneaked into the core area and alarmed the supreme existence there. Not good, damn it, who was it? Did they want to ruin our plan? The expressions of the experts of the dragons became extremely ugly. They had come here to catch Spirit Realm off guard. When the time came, Spirit Realm would be defenseless, and they would be able to take it down easily. But now, someone had trespassed into Spirit Realm's core area, and Spirit Realm had to be on guard. They were afraid that they would be in trouble. Their expressions were gloomy, and they wanted to slap the person who had sneaked in. Ancestors, what's going on? The elders of the spirit race came to the core area, and they were extremely respectful to the spirit herbs and spirit fruits. An elder asked, "Did someone come in? Who was it? Let's go and catch them." Li Shu said coldly, "No, I felt a soul. Someone is using their soul to check the core area." What? Someone can enter the core area? It's too unbelievable. Although it was only a soul, it was enough to shock the experts of Spirit Realm. They had set up so many defenses, but someone was still able to enter. Could it be the people of the dragons? They knew that the old man leading the dragons this time was a top expert. Damn it, the dragons still haven't given up. We've already rejected them. Are they trying to steal the divine life fruit? Ancestors, don't worry. We will investigate this matter. The peach tree said, That person's soul has been injured. Go and see which outsider's soul has been injured. Whoever it was, they had to suppress it. These terrifying spirit herbs were all enraged. To be honest, they were also shocked. It was the divine life tree that had discovered the soul this time. If the divine life tree hadn't warned them, they wouldn't have known at all. Whose soul was this? How could it be so terrifying? Chapter 49:51. Soon, the elders and experts of the spirit realm began to move. They came to a mountain in the distance and said, "Friends, someone used their soul to check the core of the spirit realm. Since someone didn't follow the rules, don't blame the spirit realm for being impolite." Hearing this, the people outside sucked in a breath of cold air. Some of them were stunned. Yao Qingwu and Yao Qingyu were also surprised. Someone was checking the core? Who was so daring? The first thing they thought of was the dragons. The people of the medicine sect also looked at the dragons with strange expressions. The people of the dragons had dark expressions. One of them shouted coldly, "Why are you looking at us?" Although they didn't do it, they felt guilty. After all, they had summoned experts. If they were discovered now, the spirit realm would suppress them instantly. The elders of the spirit realm also looked at the dragons. They felt that other than the dragons, there was no one else who had the strength and courage to do so. So they said, "Friends of the dragons, sorry, we have to check the condition of your soul." Sorry. As they spoke, they walked over. The people of the dragons shouted angrily, "Do you think we did it?" The spirit realm was too arrogant. "How dare you behave so atrociously in front of the dragons?" The people of the dragons were so arrogant. They usually dominated, but now they were being questioned? How could they be convinced? However, the spirit realm was also very unyielding. "Do you feel guilty? Then don't blame us." More experts walked over from afar. There was even a terrifying array flickering. Those spirit herbs had also turned into peerless experts. "Do you think we're afraid of you?" The people of the dragons shouted angrily. The leading elder snorted coldly and retreated. He transmitted a warning, "Have you forgotten what time it is? Don't do anything. Think of the big picture." The experts of the dragons gritted their teeth. Damn it, they had to endure this. However, when their experts arrived, they would let the spirit realm know the consequences of offending them. The leading elder of the dragons walked out and said, "We didn't do it. We are willing to accept the investigation. Release your soul power and let the friends of the spirit realm investigate." The people from the dragons all used their soul power. The elders of the spirit realm didn't hold back either. They inspected the bodies one by one and frowned. They were not from the dragons. The souls of the dragons were intact and unharmed. Who was that? Could it be that aside from the dragon clan, there were other hidden experts here? Their expressions were grave as they continued to investigate. The medicine sect, Yao Qianwu, and the others were also in an uproar. If it wasn't someone from the dragons, then who was it? They couldn't figure it out no matter how hard they racked their brains. Following that, the other people also accepted the inspection. Xueqi's face was somewhat pale. She couldn't help but feel nervous. It was obvious that these people were examining her soul. Lin Xian's soul was injured. If it was detected, wouldn't he be suppressed in an instant? She didn't know what to do now. Although she was strong and could take on 10 great sage together with Lin Xian, she still had no problem. However, there were more than 10 great sage in the spirit realm. It was impossible for the two of them to fight against so many of them. She hoped that the people of the spirit realm would forget about Lin Xian's existence. Very soon she was also tested and passed. The people of the spirit realm frowned deeply. Everyone's soul was intact? Who was it? The people from the dragons sneered. How was it? You didn't catch the culprit, right? I think it was someone from the spirit realm who sneaked in. Yes, I think so too. Let's investigate your people first. The people from the dragons sneered. The people of the spirit realm also frowned. Was it someone from the spirit realm? Who would be so daring? It shouldn't be. The people of the spirit realm knew how dangerous the core area was. They shouldn't have attacked. At this time, the elder who led the way said, "No, there's another person. Where's that young Master Lin? Where is he?" As soon as he said this, everyone turned to look. They all looked at Xueqi. How could they not pay attention to such a peerless beauty? They naturally knew that there was a handsome young man beside her. But where was he now? Yao Qingwu and the elders' eyelids twitched. Could it be that lad? They were shocked. One had to know that they had already seen how daring Lin Xian was. Maybe this lad really dared to inspect the core area. However, they quickly rejected this idea. It was impossible. No matter how strong that lad was, he didn't have the strength to inspect the core area. The people of the spirit realm didn't believe it either. But now, the only person they suspected was Lin Xian. They said, "Please ask young Master Lin to come out." Xueqi said that young Master Lin was in seclusion and couldn't come out. She naturally couldn't let these people see Lin Xian. The people from the dragons sneered. "I think it might be him. Maybe there's an expert behind this lad who sneaked in." Although they didn't believe it, they hoped that the spirit realm would change their target. This way, the dragons would be able to act in secret. The elders of the spirit realm said, "No matter what, we must see young Master Lin." As they spoke, they flew toward the mountain peak in the distance. Not good. When Xueqi saw this, she quickly followed them. She said, "What if you disturb his cultivation and cause him to go crazy?" Her body emitted a terrifying ice-cold aura. The elders of the spirit realm said, "Is it possible that he's injured and can't come out? If that's the case, don't blame us for being impolite." They walked over, and their bodies erupted with power. Xueqi snorted coldly and was about to attack. However, at this moment, a voice transmitted from the palace on the mountain peak. "Stop!" When Xueqi heard this voice, she was taken aback. Then, she took a deep breath and retreated to the side of the palace. She transmitted her voice to him and said, "Don't come out. They will discover you." The other people also raised their heads and looked toward the mountain peak. Is that lad going to come out? The gate of the palace on the mountain peak opened, and a person walked out. Lin Xian said, "I'm in the middle of cultivating. May I know why you have come to look for me?" As he spoke, he winked at Xueqi and gave her a reassuring look. "Young Master Lin, some people secretly inspected the core area of the spirit race, and their souls were injured. So, we have to inspect you outsiders. The other people have already inspected you, and their souls are unharmed. You are the only one left. Young Master Lin, you won't make things difficult for us, right?" When Lin Xian heard this, he chuckled. Of course, he wouldn't. He released his soul and said, "Everyone, go ahead and inspect them." The experts of the spirit realm nodded and looked forward. In the next moment, they were taken aback. How is this possible? The people in the surroundings were also taken aback, and they all inspected them. Soon after, their eyes also widened. Chapter 4952. The spirit realm's people were stunned, and even Xueqi was surprised. She couldn't believe it. However, she quickly heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. He wasn't injured. The spirit realm's experts said in a low voice. The elders were also surprised, and they carefully examined Lin Xian's soul. They discovered that his soul wasn't injured. Lin Xian said, "What? You still don't believe me?" The elders withdrew their gazes and said with a smile, "Young Master Lin, please forgive us for disturbing you." As they spoke, they left. The souls of the outsiders were all intact, and none of them were injured. This meant that it wasn't them. Perhaps other people had secretly followed them, so the spirit realm's people had to carry out other investigations. I know that it isn't this lad. No matter how arrogant he is, he wouldn't be so daring. Yao Qingwu and Xueqi heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian greeted them and went into seclusion. After he went in, Xueqi asked, "How did you do it?" She was really too kind. Lin Xian also smiled. After he came back, he felt that those people would investigate, so he quickly took out a spirit herb from the sword world and swallowed it. The spirit herbs he had planted were precious spirit herbs that were around 20,000 years old, and they were provided by the mysterious power of the sword world. The effects of these spirit herbs were really heaven-defying. After he ate half of them, Lin Xian's soul was instantly healed. His injuries weren't serious, as he had just cast his gaze over. If his soul had come here directly, he would have been seriously injured. Fortunately, he didn't encounter any danger. Xueqi heaved a sigh of relief. You scared me to death. They were fine, but the dragon's people were frowning. This was because they realized that the spirit realm's people hadn't given up, and they had increased the scope of their search. This meant that the dragon's aura they had planted before would be discovered. Why don't I go out and take back the dragon's aura? An elder asked. The leading elder shook his head. No, we can't act rashly now. They are watching us. Moreover, judging by the time, our people should be here soon. A day later, the spirit realm's people were shocked. They had discovered an incredible piece of news. Elder, at the entrance of the spirit realm's barrier, we found the aura of a dragon hidden under the ground. What? The expressions of the people of spirit realm changed drastically. The people of the dragons were secretly plotting something. It really was them. With the aura of the Tao of Dragons, they arrived at the mountain peak. Dragons? Why did you lay down your Tao of Dragon aura at the spirit formation entrance? There was a roar. The people from the dragons frowned. The others were also shocked. The outsiders poked their heads out again, their faces filled with surprise. Could it be that the dragons were behind this? Even Lin Xian walked out. He stood on the mountain peak, gazing off into the distance, his eyes glittering. Finally, the dragons were targeted once again. What would the dragons do? Elder Zhang, what should we do now that we've been discovered? The members of the dragon clan were also anxious. The old man in the lead sneered and said, Be quiet. I'll handle this. He walked out with a smile. Fellow Taoist from the spirit realm, what's the matter? The elder of the spirit realm said, How do you explain the aura of the Tao of Dragons? Isn't it simple? The elder in the lead laughed. This is our first time in the spirit realm, and we've seen the power of the world here. Naturally, we were excited and accidentally released the aura of the Tao of Dragons. This one was accidentally released. He said it casually. However, the people of spirit realm frowned deeply. Accidentally? What kind of joke was this? The dragon-shaped aura was hidden deep under the ground. If they hadn't carefully searched, they wouldn't have found it. Was this an accident? It seems that you don't want to tell the truth. Then don't blame us. The experts of spirit realm walked out. The people of the dragons also rushed out of the hall and said, What? Do you dare to attack us? Do you want to become enemies with the dragons? We don't want to become enemies with the dragons, but we're not afraid of trouble. You dragons first buried the aura of the Tao of Dragons, then investigated the secrets of our core area. Aren't you looking down on spirit realm too much? For a moment, the expressions of the experts of spirit realm turned cold, and a terrifying aura erupted. The people of the dragons were also nervous. Although they had experts on their side, this was the other side's territory. If a fight really broke out, none of them would be able to escape. The medicine sect and the others also exclaimed. Was there going to be a big battle? It was really surprising. They didn't dare to interfere. After all, no one dared to offend spirit realm here. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Oh, it'd be best if there was a big battle. This way, he would have another chance to enter the core area. The battle in front of them was about to break out. However, at this time, a voice rang out. What? Is spirit realm so arrogant that you dare to attack the dragons? At first, the voice was very soft and seemed to come from afar. However, it soon arrived nearby and thunder rumbled. Many people were so shocked that their blood boiled. Were the people of the dragons here? The medicine sect and the others all turned to look. Even Lin Xian frowned. What was going on? Didn't the dragons only send these people? Moreover, the person who came was also an extremely terrifying existence in the Great Sage. At the front, the people of the dragons revealed a smile. Great, the person they were waiting for was finally here. However, the people of Spirit Realm had a change in expression. Not good. Who was it? How dare you trespass into Spirit Realm? An angry roar. Then, countless terrifying laws rushed out, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. In the sky, with a wave of a hand, the void was torn apart. A figure walked out slowly in the air. What? Are you guys going to attack me? The person who came was an old man. His aura was extremely powerful, reaching the peak of the great sage. So terrifying. Many people were so frightened that they almost knelt on the ground. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Draconic Lord. He didn't expect it to be an old acquaintance. Of course, the other party didn't know him. When he first met the other party, he used the identity of Mad God in the heavenly court. However, Draconic Lord was here. How did he come? Lin Xian was puzzled. The people of Spirit Realm were even more puzzled. How did you find this place? Only they knew the spatial coordinates of Spirit Realm. No one else knew. If outsiders wanted to enter, they would have to pay a high price for the right to enter. Then they would be let in. But now, the other party came alone. I think I can go anywhere in the world. What? I can't come to Spirit Realm. Draconic Lord sneered and walked down. The faces of the people from Spirit Realm turned ugly. Some of the elders furrowed their brows tightly. Could it be because of the aura of the Tao of Dragon? The members of the dragon race were far more sensitive to the aura of the dragon race than other people. Draconic Lord could really find it. Chapter 49-53. At the same time, they shouted coldly, and all the outsiders left. It seemed that they wanted to chase everyone away. The dragon's sovereign ignored them completely. He stared at the dragons and asked, "Haven't you gotten it yet?" The dragon's elders shook their heads. No, they were stubborn. Was that so? The dragon's sovereign snorted. He turned his head and stared at the people of Spirit Realm. "I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the divine fruit of life. You're really here for the divine fruit of life." The people of Spirit Realm's expression changed drastically, then they gritted their teeth. "Don't even think about it. The divine fruit of life belongs to Spirit Realm. We will never give it to an outsider. Even you dragons can't give it to me." Refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? The dragon's sovereign sneered. It seems that the 10,000 Dragons Court hasn't made a move for a long time. So much so that everyone in the world has forgotten the power of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Well, I'll show my power today and let everyone know that the Emperor race is not to be challenged. His aura became more and more terrifying, and the world kept shaking. Endless cracks appeared in the void, and everyone felt that the end of the world was coming. They kept retreating. The experts and elders of Spirit Realm couldn't resist at all. One had to know that the Dragon Sovereign was at the peak of the Great Sage. It was difficult for others to fight against him. So, at this time, angry shouts came from afar. Then, countless figures flew over from all directions of Spirit Realm. A few of them flew to the front and landed in an instant. These people were also at the peak of the Great Sage. The leader was dressed in white, and his black hair was like a waterfall. He looked young and his face was solemn. "I'm the Master of Spirit Realm, a member of the dragons. Are you really going to attack?" Yao Qingwu and the others exclaimed. The Master of Spirit Realm was the patriarch of the clan of the ancients. His status was even more terrifying. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was a little confused. It was different from what he thought. Did the 10,000 Dragons Court send a dragon sovereign? Although he was very powerful, he couldn't do as he pleased in Spirit Realm. Could it be that he had some trump card? "Long Zhao, although you are at the peak of the Great Sage, my Spirit Realm is not a pushover. It is not realistic for you to behave atrociously here. I advise you dragons to leave obediently. Otherwise, don't blame us for suppressing you." Another old man walked out, his eyes bursting with an extremely sharp divine light, like a divine sword, piercing through heaven and earth. He was the great elder of Spirit Realm. There was another person who looked young, but his aura was just as terrifying. He said that the dragons should retreat. Otherwise, even though you all are Emperor clans, we can still suppress you all, throw you all out. If that happens, you will lose all your face. This was the second elder of Spirit Realm. "Ha!" Dragon Radiance Master looked up to the sky and laughed. "Spirit Region, you are so stubborn. Don't blame the 10,000 Dragons Imperial Court for being impolite. Everyone come out." As he spoke, he waved his sleeve, and it expanded in the wind, becoming 10,000 li long, as if it covered the heavens and earth. From inside, One figure after another flew out, accompanied by a terrifying aura of the Tao of Dragons. The spirit realm doesn't know what's good for them. They dared to challenge my emperor clan, so they deserve death. A roar shook the heavens and the earth. Another person shouted, "Those who obey me will prosper, those who resist me will die." Spirit region, kneel and hand over the tree of life. In an instant, the sky was filled with experts of the dragons. Not good. The expressions of the others changed drastically. The people of Spirit region were also stunned. The Spirit region master's pupils shrank. You dare to bring people here? Do you want to start a war between Spirit region and the 10,000 Dragons Imperial Court? Their expressions became very ugly. Other than Dragon Radiance Master, there were 2 peak Great Sage experts. Other than that, there were 100 Great Sage experts. None of them were weak. These people appearing together was no longer a personal grudge. This was a conflict between 2 forces. If it was not handled well, it would become a world-ending war. In the distance, 2 more peak Great Sage experts arrived. The 5 peak Great Sage experts were the strength of Spirit Realm. The experts of Spirit Realm retreated. They looked like they were facing a great enemy. The formations around them were already flickering. The medicine sect and the others' expressions changed drastically. They were outsiders. At this moment, they quickly retreated. However, without someone to lead the way, they could not leave. Lin Xian, Xueqi, and the others also retreated with furrowed brows. Xueqi said, "It seems like our previous guess was right. The 10,000 Dragons Imperial Court has gone crazy." Lin Xian took a deep breath. "I'm afraid it's more troublesome than you think. They only wanted the Tree of Life. After Dragon Radiance Master and the others arrived, they directly asked for the Tree of Life. They want Spirit Region's life. I think there will be a world-ending war later. Let's hide further away." Lin Xian sighed. Although he had hoped that the 2 sides would fight, he thought that the war would at most be a dozen Great Sage experts fighting there. It would cause a commotion. He could take the opportunity to run to the core area and investigate. Now, it was completely out of his expectations. The 10,000 Dragons Imperial Court had sent 100 people, and there were 3 peak Great Sage experts. If they fought, no one knew what the consequences would be. What, 5 peak Great Sage experts? Do they think they can fight against us? Dragon Radiance Master sneered. You don't understand our strength. Without further ado, some people from Spirit Realm were already enraged and immediately attacked. The green sword shadow blotted out the sky as it slashed forward. The 3 peak Great Sage experts of the dragons attacked together with the other 5. They exploded in an instant. With one attack, the sky fell and the earth cracked. A huge crack appeared in the void. Then, both sides retreated. The Spirit Region Master's expression was ugly. The 5 of them could not take down the 3 of them. Their advantage in numbers was useless. As expected of the monarch race. The ancient scriptures and bloodlines they cultivated were far superior to ordinary remote antiquity families. No matter what, the other party had underestimated Spirit Realm too much. Their inheritances were not weak either. Everyone, please attack. The Spirit Region Master turned around and said. They gathered in the core area. A cold snort came. The dragons were too presumptuous. No matter how arrogant the 10,000 Dragons Imperial Court is, they can't come here and do whatever they want. You actually want the Tree of Life. A few voices sounded. Then, everyone saw a few black figures flash across the ground and arrive nearby. They were ancient trees. There were pear trees, peach trees, sunflowers, and purple vines. After they arrived, the array around them kept flashing. The spirit herbs all bloomed and shone with a piercing light. In an instant, the entire spirit region seemed to have turned into a world cage. Everyone felt a huge pressure. Of course, the ones who felt the pressure were the outsiders, such as the dragons, the medicine sect, Yao Qianwu, Lin Xian, and the others. They felt like they were being crushed by 100,000 mountains. The people of Spirit Region were all covered in green armor. This was the life armor. Fighting in their territory, they had unlimited vitality. Do you still think you're a match for us? The spirit region master sneered. In the distance, the people of the medicine sect felt their scalps tingle. It seemed that the 10,000 dragons imperial court was going to suffer this time. Chapter 4954. I'll use my dragon blood to summon the dragon diagram. An ice-cold voice echoed throughout heaven and earth. Soon after, a terrifying dragon aura rose from the bodies of the Dragon Radiance Master and the other two people. An even more terrifying might appeared. When this aura appeared, shock appeared on the faces of the Dragon's clan's members. Soon after, they became overjoyed. This is great. They prostrated themselves on the ground and started worshipping it. As for the Spirit Zone's members, their faces were filled with fright. What is this aura? Some of the weaker members were forced to kneel on the ground by this power. The medicine sect's members also bent their bodies and wanted to kneel down. Some of them tried their best to stand up, but their bodies were shattered. The medicine sect's members roared crazily. Some elders shouted angrily, "Hurry up and submit!" They didn't dare to resist, and they all knelt down on the ground. Yao Qingwu and the other two people's bodies shivered, and they also submitted. Xue Qi's pupils contracted. This aura, could it be? She was too shocked. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It was just as he had expected. These people had brought that thing here. Hurry up and go inside. Lin Xian waved his hand and opened a crack, sending Xue Qi into the sword world. Xue Qi was his woman, so Lin Xian wouldn't hide anything from her. After Xue Qi entered this world, she cried out in alarm. Where is this place? She felt that the terrifying aura had disappeared, and a mysterious power was revolving around it. This is my world. You should stay here for now. It's too dangerous outside. Lin Xian's voice transmitted into her ears. Xue Qi was shocked. Lin Xian possessed a world. This was too inconceivable. However, she didn't expect that this was a unique world. In her eyes, this was just an ordinary world that had been refined by Lin Xian. After all, someone at Lin Xian's level had several world cores. Although she was shocked, she could still understand it. However, she didn't expect that this wasn't an ordinary world. She only found out about this later. She asked, "Husband, what about you? You should also come inside." Lin Xian had such a trump card, so he shouldn't be afraid of that terrifying aura. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry about me. I'll take a look first." He hadn't come in, but he had the great dragon sword spirit in his body and had destroyed that terrifying energy. It was hidden in the distance. He wondered what Spirit Realm's fate would be like. Lin Xian shook his head. Most of the people on Spirit Realm's side were forced to kneel on the ground, unable to resist. At the front, the faces of the peak great sage experts turned ugly. For example, pear trees and peach trees were about to crack. The Lord of Spirit Realm's pupils shrank. He kept retreating, his face pale. Extreme Dao Might. You brought the myriad dragon's portrait here. Are you guys crazy? He couldn't believe it. Were they going to destroy Spirit Realm? The master of Long Zhao, the ancestor of Long Shi, and the master of the dragon court stood in the sky like gods and demons. They looked down at the common people and said in a clear voice, "Those who obey me will prosper and those who resist me will perish. I'll give you one last chance. Either you submit and hand over the tree of life, or you die." A cold voice rang out, causing everyone in Spirit Realm to despair. Was this the legendary Extreme Dao weapon? The weapon of a great emperor was too terrifying. As soon as it appeared, just the aura that descended was enough to make them unable to resist. If it attacked, who could block it? The pear tree roared, "Damn it, you dare to threaten us?" The others also gritted their teeth, their eyes red. They wouldn't hand over the tree of life even if they died. The master of Long Zhao waved his hand, and an extreme Dao power descended, sending the pear tree flying. Its body was torn into pieces, and it was charred black. "Damn it, I'll fight it out with you." Seeing this scene, the peach tree roared. The 3,000 peachwood swords swept across the world, cutting through the void. One had to know that these spirit herbs were very terrifying when they cultivated to the saint level. Previously, Lin Xian couldn't fight against them even with the heavenly secret divine eye. The ones that were chased directly withdrew their souls. But now, under the extreme Tao power, the peach tree was also sent flying as if it had been struck by lightning. Its branches withered, and its aura dropped. It was on the verge of death. Damn it. The people of Spirit Realm gritted their teeth and roared. At this time, a few mountains of Spirit Realm cracked open, and a few old people walked out. At the same time, they shouted angrily and took out their sacred weapons. Voices sounded one after another. Clearly, Spirit Realm's foundation had been activated. Another 5 old people walked out. These 5 old people were even paler. They were living fossils. Their blood and chi were withered, but as they walked, countless spirit herbs surged into their bodies, causing their vitality to quickly recover. In an instant, their white hair turned black and their eyes were sharp. There was an old man who had turned into a young war god. At the same time, a terrifying tremor came from the ground, and a war hammer appeared. One person held it. On the other side, a ruler was summoned by a woman. It was jade and emitted a biting cold light. There was also a furnace controlled by an old man in the palm of his hand. These 3 weapons emitted an extremely terrifying aura, and they quickly charged forward. To block the extreme Tao power, the people of Spirit Realm felt the pressure on them lessen. They all heaved a sigh of relief, and then they became hopeful. The 5 old ancestors had awakened, and the 3 sacred weapons were unsealed. They still had the power to fight. The Master of Spirit Realm, the Great Elder, the Second Elder, and the other spirit herbs in the core area were all gathered together. They controlled the 3 legendary sacred weapons and the peerless formations in the surroundings to fight a great battle against it. Terrifying power turned into lightning that swept through the sky. The formation gathered killing intent, and the 3 sacred weapons swept through the world. Sacred weapons were the top of the sacred weapons, and they were second only to extreme Tao weapons. The 3 sacred weapons attacked with all their power, and their power was earth-shattering. Today, a legendary battle was going to happen. Was there anyone who could rely on eternal Tao weapons? In the distance, the medicine sect and other outsiders who were prostrating on the ground felt their scalps tingle. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. He knew the power of an extreme Tao weapon. And this time, the 10,000 Dragon Court came prepared. They might have fully awakened their extreme Tao weapons. That attack was probably, Lin Xian didn't think about it anymore because the battle had already begun. The people of Spirit Realm gathered their strength and launched an apocalyptic attack into the sky. They attacked the 10,000 Dragon Diagram. The space around the 10,000 Dragon Diagram shattered. The sky map formed by countless dragons also shook a little. Great, the people of Spirit Realm were happy. The 10,000 Dragon Diagram was not invincible. But soon they despaired. Their full-powered attacks caused the 10,000 Dragons Diagram to shake. Then, the 10,000 Dragons Diagram suppressed the heavens and earth. How was this possible? The people of Spirit Realm went crazy. The Master of Spirit Realm, the living fossil, and the spirit herbs in the core area were also filled with despair. Their full-power attack couldn't even shake it. Chapter 4955. Was this an extreme weapon? The rest of the people were also horrified. There was nothing in the world that could stop an extreme weapon. Unless it was another extreme weapon. Lin Xian's expression was just as serious. It looked like Spirit Realm was truly finished this time. The other side wanted the Tree of Life, so he acted in advance. Summoning the Void Beast, Lin Xian quickly traveled through space. He wanted to enter the core area. At this moment, all the sleeping demonic beasts in the core area had awakened. Stalks of spiritual herbs rose into the air and charged forward. This time, Lin Xian easily entered the core area. However, he didn't act rashly because he knew that the Tree of Life was probably an even more terrifying existence. Spirit Realm's experts were all mobilized, but they still couldn't stop it. Another attack. The ground of Spirit Realm cracked, and the sky shattered. It was a scene of destruction. This time, the Great Sage died. Dozens of Great Sage died, and their sacred blood dyed the sky red. The Lord of Spirit Realm and the others also retreated. Their bodies were broken, and they vomited blood. Their eyes were filled with despair. At this time, the tree of life moved. Its branches and leaves covered the sky and began to sweep in all directions. Powerful vitality poured into the people of spirit realm. Their broken bodies quickly healed, and even some bones were restored. Countless people were shocked. Even Lin Xian's pupils shrank. This was the power of the tree of life. It was terrifying. This vitality was stronger than anything. The ancient voice sounded. The tree of life spoke. I am willing to give you the divine fruit of life. Can you stop the battle? The people of spirit realm stopped. The tree of life had spoken. To be honest, they were very regretful now. Who knew that the other side would bring an extreme weapon? Hearing this, the Lord of Dragon Reflection snorted. We gave you a chance before, but you didn't accept it. Now, the extreme weapon has been activated. Do you know how many resources we have used? It's impossible to stop now. A mere divine fruit of life can't satisfy us. If you want to stop the battle, come back with us personally. In the sky, cold eyes looked at the tree of life. The tree of life fell silent. The people of spirit realm were also shocked. The Lord of spirit realm roared. Impossible. The divine tree of life was too important to spirit realm. Once the divine tree of life left, spirit realm would probably decline instantly. Moreover, the divine tree of life had protected them for so many years. If they left with the dragons, they would definitely become prisoners, so they wouldn't allow it. Old ancestor, there's no need to tell them. Let's fight. They swore to protect the ancestor with their lives. The people of spirit realm roared madly. The eyes of the peak experts of the great sage shone with a terrifying light. They stood in a row, absolutely not allowing the dragons to touch their ancestor. The young people of the other spirit realms. They were not strong enough to fight, but they poured all their power into the formation. The peerless formation was activated. The 10,000 dragons diagram struck down here. 10,000 dragons roared, and the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. However, this time, the Lord of Spiritual Region and the others retreated, but there was an energy that blocked them, causing countless people to be shocked. Lin Xian was also surprised. What kind of array was this? It was too scary. In the sky, Lord Longzhao's expression was gloomy. Extreme Tao formation. It was an array set up by a great emperor. The voice of the divine tree of life sounded again, and its life energy enveloped the world. Back then, the immortal divine herb appeared in spirit realm, and it was obtained by a great emperor. That great emperor had a relationship with spirit realm. He set up an emperor-level array to protect spirit realm from destruction. Unless it was a moment of life and death, the array would not appear. Now that it had appeared, spirit realm had no worries. The people of spirit realm laughed and heaved a sigh of relief. After this, they would definitely take revenge. Let's see if your emperor-level array is stronger or our extreme Tao weapon is stronger. The people of the 10,000 Dragons dynasty didn't plan to stop at all. They had to get the divine tree of life. At this moment, endless resources gathered, and the 10,000 Dragons diagram released an extremely terrifying light. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked, directly tearing the 9 heavens. Spirit realm was broken. The beasts of the everlasting mountain range also felt this light. They looked up at the sky. What happened? There seemed to be someone fighting there. But before they could go over, an aura swept out, and everyone knelt on the ground. Those who were close were directly turned into ashes. More people fled. It was too terrifying. Not only the mountain range, but the people of Everlasting City also prostrated on the ground. So much so that the entire Yuanguang continent was almost alarmed. The might of the extreme Tao was fully recovered. Near Mount Eternal, the eyes of the people of the Gu family burst out with an extremely cold light. In their family's land, the void mirror kept shaking. It seemed to be emitting a warning aura. And the pupils of the sect masters of the Longevity Hall and Fire Cloud Hall shrank. Even though they were separated by an endless distance, they still felt fear. This was not just intimidation. Someone was going to fully recover the extreme Tao weapon. Who was it? In Taiching Ancient City, The ancient families and peerless sects were also facing a great enemy. The people of the Purple Mansion and some ancient existences looked up at the sky. The 10,000 Dragons dynasty had made their move. The people of the Yi family were the same. The Yi family's heaven and earth cauldron bloomed, enveloping the Yi family and blocking the extreme Dao weapon. However, everyone's expression was grave. When the extreme Dao weapon attacked with full force, one side would definitely be turned into ashes. They didn't know which force had offended the 10,000 Dragons dynasty. Holy Abyss Ancient City. The people of the three great orthodoxies were also alarmed. Countless discussions sounded. After all, the Dragon Prince had just been injured. Now that the 10,000 Dragons dynasty had activated the extreme Dao weapon, it was obvious that it was because of the Dragon Prince. But no one knew the specific reason. The 10,000 Dragons dynasty were excited. They knew that the battle was about to end. No one could resist the fully recovered extreme Dao weapon. In the distant universe, endless stars flickered. Some stars had no living beings, while some stars had transformed into worlds. There were billions of living beings living on them. But at this moment, the 13 worlds in the universe instantly withered and turned into ashes. And the power of the 13 worlds instantly surged into the buried Emperor Star. The extreme Dao weapon's full force attack consumed the power of 13 worlds. This attack caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. It was too terrifying. The void let out an uneasy roar. It couldn't resist at all. Lin Xian summoned the sky-devouring jar and hid in it. In the next moment, he felt a huge force bombarding the sky-devouring jar and was sent flying. However, it didn't shatter. The sky-devouring jar was also a half-grade weapon. It released a terrifying devouring aura to resist. Lin Xian couldn't fully activate the sky-devouring jar, but he had no problem protecting himself. The others weren't so lucky. Yao Qingwu and Lin Xian spat out large mouthfuls of blood as their bodies shattered. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian sighed. These two people had saved him before, so he had to save them. Fortunately, he left a bell on them. At this moment, he activated the array formation inside the bell to teleport them. Chapter 4956. The people from the medicine sect tried their best to resist, but they were instantly turned into ashes. Apart from them, there were also some outsiders who had vanished into thin air. It was too powerful. It was as if the great emperor had revived and swept through everything. Nothing could stop him. Not good. The Lord of Spirit Realm's expression changed drastically. He roared angrily and activated all his power to revive the Emperor-level formation. This peerless formation was a protective formation. At this moment, it was blooming with light, turning into the strongest defense. However, it was unintentional. The full revival of the extreme weapon used too much power. Moreover, the extreme weapon was different from the formation. Although they were both created by the Great Emperor, their power was still different. If it was fully revived, the extreme weapon would be even more powerful. At this moment, the 10,000 dragons diagram rotated and pressed down, turning into tens of thousands of giant dragons that roared between heaven and earth, bombarding the Emperor-level formation. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The formation instantly dimmed, and the people inside the formation were nervous. They wondered if they could withstand it. With a cracking sound, their expressions became unsightly. Cracks appeared on the formation. Damn it, could it be that they couldn't withstand it? They were thinking of retreating now, but it was too late. Ancestor. They all looked at the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life was silent. Then, it roared and quickly went to find the descendants of the Great Emperor. Their peerless formation was left behind by the Great Emperor. Although the Great Emperor didn't leave behind a family, there were descendants. Now, they could only hope that the descendants of the Great Emperor would appear and stop this battle. The Tree of Life personally made a move. It had lived for too long, and its strength had reached an unfathomable level. However, it still couldn't stop the extreme weapon. It waved its branches, and the formation flickered. A terrifying spatial vortex appeared in the Emperor-level formation. The signal for help had been sent out. In the distant continent, a mountain stood tall like an ancient demon mountain. Demonic energy filled the air here. It was terrifying. Obviously, it was an overlord-level force. At this moment, in a mountain stream, a white-robed figure suddenly opened her eyes. There was a mysterious rune flickering between her brows. A set of green lotuses appeared behind her, swaying non-stop. At the same time, a vortex appeared in front of her. An emperor-level formation and a signal for help. Could it be the spirit realm? The white-robed woman's expression changed drastically. She seemed to have thought of something. She stood up and stepped into the green vortex. In the next moment, his figure disappeared. In spirit realm, more and more cracks appeared on the surface of the emperor-level formation. It looked like it would not be able to hold on for much longer. Extreme auras poured in from the cracks in the formation. The disciples of spirit realm died in droves and turned to dust. Even the pinnacle great sage couldn't stop vomiting blood. If not for the powerful energy provided by the Tree of Life, all of them would have died. But even so, he couldn't hold on for long. When the emperor-level array formation was completely broken, it would be the time of everyone's death. The master of spirit realm, the great sage, and the Tree of Life were all staring at the blue whirlpool. Was he not here yet? At this moment, a figure stepped out of the green vortex. In the next moment, her expression turned grave. Yen Ryu was shocked. This was an extreme Dao weapon. 10,000 Dragons diagram. Her body was surrounded by a green light, but she still recognized the 10,000 Dragons diagram at a glance. The 10,000 Dragons court was attacking spirit realm and had fully awakened their extreme Dao weapon? Damn it. She had also felt the extreme Dao power before, but she didn't expect the target to be spirit realm. The master of spirit realm and the others quickly bowed when they saw it. The Tree of Life said, "Descendant of the Azure Emperor, please help spirit realm through this crisis." Yen Ryu said, "I understand." The green lotus behind her shook non-stop. 1 became 2, 2 became 3, and 3 became all things. The green lotus blocked the extreme Dao power between heaven and earth. At the same time, Yen Ryu's cold voice sounded, "Fellow Taoist of the 10,000 Dragons Court, please stop." For you, Ancestor Long and the others frowned. At the most crucial moment, another mysterious figure appeared. Furthermore, the green lotus behind the figure made them feel a sense of apprehension. Why was there an extreme Dao power aura emitting from it? I am the descendant of the Azure Emperor. My ancestor, the Azure Emperor, was indebted to spirit realm and obtained the immortal divine medicine. My ancestor, the Azure Emperor, once said that if spirit realm was in danger of being destroyed, the descendant of the Azure Emperor would do his best to repay the favor of the divine medicine. A loud and clear voice rang out. The people of the 10,000 Dragons court frowned. The descendant of the Azure Emperor? If the matter with the Dragon Prince had not happened, they might have really stopped for the sake of the other party. But now they had to get the Tree of Life. The 10,000 Dragons court said coldly, "I can spare spirit realm, but give me the Tree of Life and we will leave." The master of spirit realm and the others roared. The Tree of Life was silent. Then it said, "I will go with you." There was no other way. This was probably the only way. After I leave, seal the space of spirit realm. Don't come out for 10,000 years. With that, it soared into the sky like a sacred tree and rushed into the clouds. The array cracked open and it rushed out. "All right, take me away. Let the people of spirit realm go." The master of dragon radiance and the others waved their hands. The 10,000 Dragons diagram released an endless aura that enveloped the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life's body cracked open, and divine life liquid dripped down. It roared in pain. Below, the master of spirit realm and the others' pupils shrank. "No, don't attack the ancestor." Yen Ryu also shouted angrily, "Please treat the Tree of Life well." However, the master of dragon radiance and the others sneered. "It has lived for countless years. Do you think it will submit to the 10,000 Dragons court? We don't need a hostile Tree of Life. We just need its seed to take root and sprout. As for it, let it become history." With that, The 10,000 dragons diagram turned into chains and sealed the Tree of Life. At the same time, they activated their extreme weapons again. Spirit Realm, you dared to challenge the 10,000 dragons court. You must die. Emperor races cannot be challenged. Spirit Realm will die without a doubt. With an angry shout, the 10,000 dragons diagram pressed down again. The Emperor-level array was shattered. The people of Spirit Realm despaired. The Tree of Life also roared crazily, "You went back on your word." It was angry. The huge trunk kept shaking and turned into a divine sword, wanting to escape. However, the power of the 10,000 dragons diagram was not something it could resist. Descendant of the Azure Emperor, please take the people of Spirit Realm away. The Tree of Life's desperate voice sounded. Ancestor. The people of Spirit Realm knelt on the ground. They knew that the Tree of Life was about to launch its final attack. It would definitely be a life-and-death struggle. After kowtowing 3 times to the void, the Master of Spirit Realm stood up and said, "Although I have an extreme weapon, I can't fully revive and fight against the 10,000 dragons diagram. Also, with my current strength, I can only take 30 people away." It couldn't be helped. Things had happened too suddenly. The 10,000 dragons court had carefully prepared, and Yen Ryu had been summoned in an instant. She was completely unprepared. Chapter 4957. 30 people. The Lord of Spirit Realm's expression was solemn, but he knew that this was the best result. They didn't expect that an extreme weapon would participate. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ended up like this if they had made a decision earlier. In the end, they were still too confident. They thought that the only difference between them and the Emperor clans was extreme weapons. However, an extreme weapon was enough to destroy them. The Lord of Spirit Realm said, 20 young geniuses, 10 seniors, and 100 spirit herbs in the core area. Emperor Qing's descendant, I'll leave it to you. Soon, these people were chosen. Yen Ryu led 30 people. As for the 100 spirit herbs, she put them all into her space. In the next moment, the green lotus behind her shattered the void and disappeared. Her voice sounded, "Don't worry, Spirit Realm. I didn't help you this time, but I will take revenge on the 10,000 dragon court in the future. I will use the blood of the dragons to take revenge for you." Thank you, Emperor Qing's descendant. They knew that Spirit Realm was destroyed, but they hoped that the fire seed would not be destroyed. These people would grow up in the future and rebuild Spirit Realm. And they would live and die together with Spirit Realm. After Yen Ryu disappeared, the Lord of Spirit Realm and all the remaining people of Spirit Realm stood up. They began to burn their laws and life. Everyone, fight with me. Protect Spirit Realm, protect our home. Save the ancestor. These people went crazy. Their bodies turned into flames and burned fiercely. Their power surged into the Emperor-level formation. The formation released a terrifying light and struck the surface of the 10,000 dragon diagram with its ultimate attack. With this attack, the 10,000 dragon diagram shook and the shackles on it shattered. The Tree of Life was able to escape. After he came out, he also roared at the sky. His life force also burned as he pounced forward. The expressions of the people of the 10,000 dragon court became ugly. Damn it, they didn't expect Emperor Qing's descendant to escape and take away a portion of them. The remaining people were fighting with their lives on the line. Although they could revive the 10,000 dragon diagram with their power, they couldn't hold on for too long. After all, they weren't true emperors. Quick, end the battle quickly. They attacked with all their strength again. These peak great sage were also pale, and cracks appeared on their bodies. Obviously, controlling the 10,000 dragon diagram for a long time was a huge burden on them. The roars of 10,000 dragons seemed to have come to life as they scattered down. The Emperor-level formation shattered. Inside the formation, the Master of Spirit Realm, the Great Sage, and the genius disciples of the Spirit race were all dead. 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, you all bullied others. One day, your 10,000 Dragon Dynasty will end up worse than our Spirit Realm. The Lord of Spirit Realm cursed at the end. However, it was destroyed by the 10,000 Dragons diagram. Dragon Reflection Master and the others sneered. Humph, you don't understand the monarch race at all. With the extreme weapons, we will always stand at the peak. That's right, as long as the extreme Dao weapon wasn't destroyed, their emperor clans would be able to remain unmatched overlords for countless years. No one could destroy them. The Tree of Life was also in despair. Its body was shattered, and the entire spirit realm was torn apart. The earth was shattered, and the sky was split open. There were flames of war everywhere, and not a single place was left intact. The Tree of Life's power was being devoured by the 10,000 Dragons diagram. The 10,000 Dragons diagram formed a barrier, and the endless divine life elixir merged into it. However, the divine Tree of Life wasn't dead yet. It had lived for too long, and it was a divine tree. His vitality was too strong. If it wasn't for the extreme Dao weapon, it could really escape. But now it was in despair. The place it had lived in for generations no longer existed, and those people from before were also gone. However, it wanted revenge. It stared at a place and used the last of its soul to rush over. In the shattered world, everything no longer existed. A sea of blood filled the sky, but there was a black jar. It was extremely inconspicuous, but it was completely preserved. This was the heaven-swallowing jar. After Lin Xian entered, he sealed everything. There was no other way. He wanted to investigate, but his soul gaze was shattered as soon as it appeared. He also stopped probing. However, at this moment, a voice passed through the vortex and directly entered. Kid, I know it was you who used your gaze to investigate the core area. My spirit realm is now destroyed. I will also disappear soon, but I am not willing. Promise me that in the future, kill the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty and take revenge for my spirit realm. I will give you a great fortune. Lin Xian was stunned when he heard this. This was the soul of the Tree of Life. Had the battle outside already ended? Needless to say, once an extreme Dao weapon appeared, Spirit Realm couldn't resist at all. He replied with his soul. Senior, I only want the sacred fruit of life. As for the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, I will definitely take action in the future. Without the Tree of Life, only one of Lin Xian and the Dragon Prince could stand at the peak. Then he, the Dragon Prince, and the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would definitely fight. Besides, Lin Xian had promised the Dark Red Divine Dragon that he would kill the Dragon Prince. Young man, I believe you. The soul of the Tree of Life remembered. How could he not believe it? Lin Xian's strength was at the top of the young geniuses, and this black jar was clearly an extreme Dao weapon. That was why he said, everyone knows that I am the core of Spirit Realm. They don't know that I am not the true core. The core is the divine spring of life. The divine spring of life has existed for countless years. Not only did it create me, but I also created the immortal divine medicine. Everything we have was created by the divine spring of life. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard that. Could it be those 81 springs? At that time, he felt that the springs were very mysterious. He didn't expect there to be such a secret. The Tree of Life said, only I and the previous masters of Spirit Realm know this secret. Others don't know. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty doesn't know either. They will take me away, but I will leave the divine spring of life to you. You must take revenge in the future. Lin Xian said, I swear on my Dao heart that I will take revenge. Then he said, Senior, can you leave behind some branches or remnant souls? I might have a way to bring you back to life. Let's see what happens. The Tree of Life's voice disappeared. Lin Xian activated the heaven-devouring jar with all his strength, and the power of the world surged out, turning into a ray of light. He passed through the shattered land. He came to the core area. At this moment, the core area was full of vicissitudes. Not a single place was intact. The 81 spring mouths were no longer there, but Lin Xian could sense that there was still a spirit spring beneath the ground. That was the true divine spring of life. Lin Xian activated the heaven-devouring jar with all his strength and sent out a soul voice. Come with me. I will take revenge for you in the future. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.